Okay, I'm going to show you how to skin a deer head out. This particular deer head is going to be for a European mount, but it's the same process. If you notice, there's kind of a hair pattern here of the Y. So I'm going to take a sharp knife or scalpel, which I use, and just make what they call a Y incision from the back here and then straight down through the cape. Peel the skin back all the way up to the burr here. The other process before I start doing this too is a lot of people don't, but I will separate the mouth and the nose area. It's relatively easy. Just lift up the lip and make the cut along the inside of the jaw. This is so when you get down around the face area, you'll know where to cut off at. Trim on both sides. Take the lower lip, same thing, just follow the gum line around. Peel it down. This side also. Another thing I use is borax to help keep my fingers dry from slipping. I'm trying to do this so the camera can see it. Peel it down. This process will work good if you're out and like hunting elk or caribou or something, and you're up in the mountains or out in the plains or something, and you need to get the cape off of the animal right away so that bacteria don't start setting in and you'll lose your cape. Now you can see in here is I'll just take and cut through the cheek. I'm holding my finger, this finger here, on the back side of the cape so I don't cut through it. And you can kind of see right there where it's coming through. Do the same on this side. Trim it back some more. Now we can go back to that because that's loose up there now. Now we come back to the top of the cape part. Now, getting the hair off of the burr of the antler is relatively simple. You take and get yourself a screwdriver. Go up right next. Make sure you get a good cut in here. Get it trimmed right up to the burr. Then take a screwdriver and then just peel it. Peels around. Get that separated a little bit. You can see how clean it gets cleaning it off that way. Then we also want to cut this all the way down. There will be more cape on your animal when you're doing it for a shoulder mount, whereas this one he just cut the head off and brought it into for a European mount, which is just a skull mount. So I don't need the skin, but taking the skin off of the animal is the same as if you're doing it for a cape or for a Euro mount. Now we're getting down into the earbud area, and what I'll usually do there is, again, clean it back, take my screwdriver and start prying some of that hair or cape away from the burr. If it don't go sometimes, a hammer always works. See, I didn't get it completely cut up there, so we want to get that incision cut right up to the burr. Then it lets loose better. That's just what I need to do with the fan to kick in. And there she goes. And then once I got that peeled off like that, excuse the fan, then you could just cut through the ear, the muscle of the ear, taking it right down to the cape again. Hopefully this is showing up. And then taking your screwdriver and just peel it all the way around. And by doing that, now I have separated the cape from around the butt with very little cutting. And then just keep peeling down. If you leave a little meat and stuff on the head, that's fine, like I've got here, because we've got to trim that out anyway. We got to turn the ears and turn the lips later. But this for right now is just getting the cape off of the skull. Okay. Trim it back. This is where a nice sharp knife works great for this. Now I'll take my nice screwdriver again. Just pry. You can see as I pry it, it just peels it right off. And the hair is off of the cape, is off of this side of the cape again. And now I just take and trim down through that ear, find the muscle and of the ear butt there, and just cut through it. And like I said before, we'll trim that all up later. You don't have to get too fancy with that part of it. Now we're going to be moving down the cape. Like I said earlier, this is not a full cape, just a small one. And then now we're going to get into the eye area. And this is probably the most delicate area to get into. What I usually do is put my finger in the corner of the eye and pull up. And you can see where this part right here is actually the socket for the eye. And I kind of cut down into it, so I don't cut that corner open. And then you can see my finger in there as I get through the eye. Kind of just hook it in there and just keep peeling it back. Take as much relief off of it as possible. Keep skinning it back. And then you'll hit on the corner of the eye here, you'll hit the tear duct. That tear duct goes down into it, so you want to not just cut straight across, but kind of follow down along the top edge of the bone here of the skull, and you can and you'll see a little pit area in here. You have to come up underneath. This is the delicate part. Once you get past this part, the rest of it's pretty easy. If you nick it, no big deal, it's tucked in anyway, but the less cuts you have on a deer head, the better off you are. Keep trimming it off. Again, here's that corner of the eye. Pull it up so I get enough skin under there to, when I go to clean it out, I'm not working right on top of the eyelid. Find out there and then just cut her down. Trim this off. I'm getting down to the tear duct again. I'm just kind of following along the top of that. I'm kind of pulling it back with my fingers, pulling the cape back a little bit with my fingers as I trim that membrane along there. You can see it right here. Oops, I got to go down into it a little bit. There's kind of a little pocket in there where that tear duct lies. There. Now once I got that tear duct done, now I can just take and work the rest of the cape down over the skull. And you'll see here pretty soon why I did the mouth work first. You can see right now I'm getting into the cheek area. And as I pull this cape forward, right there is where I made my cut inside the mouth. Now I know where my lower jaw starts, so I don't cut too far into it. Do the same on both the other side. Just keep working your way towards the front of the skull. There again, right here, you can see where I found that. Now I can take and release the lower jaw from the cape. And I have my lower jaw released. Relief off of it. Now all I have to do is work my way to the nose. And the nose is cartilage, so you'll get to a point on this nose where it'll be real spongy and feels real spongy. You can't really trim the nose all the way to the tip. So what I usually do is get about, maybe an inch or so from the nose, like that. And then I'll just cut straight down and take that whole nose cartilage piece off, because I can clean it up later on. Okay, and there the cape is relieved from the skull. As you can see, we got the cape off of the skull. Now before you're done with that, there's two more things you need to do. If you're out in the field and you're hunting, buy yourself one of these. It's just a sewer's tape. And what I do is I take a measurement from the corner of the eye to the end of the nose. This happens to be 6.5 inches. And I'll write that measurement down. Then in the field, before I cut the antlers off, is I'll take a measurement right below the ear base, which is 17 inches, and then about 3, I'm missing more, but it should have this much more of this neck on it, and I'd take a measurement around that, which would be about 18. I'd write those measurements down, measurements down, so that when you go to the taxidermist, you can say, here's my cape, and here's the measurements that I had on it when I took it off of the skull. Then it's just a matter of making a cut here and a cut here, taking the skull off and wrapping them both up in a bag and sending them off to the taxidermist. I'm going to show you a real quick trick on, once you've got the cape off, this part you don't really have to do, but if you have the time and you're sitting around camp and you have nothing to do, it's called turning the ears and the lips. You can see we cut that earbud out right there, so you just want to kind of separate that from the skin by just going